What's up, guys? This is Jensen here, and this is my quarterfinals recap. Tactically, what are the 3 things that we learned from the quarterfinals? Now, to start things off, we saw that ganking junglers can win games, but there is a caveat to this. The first time we saw ganking junglers was in the group stages, where SOFM played the Lee Sin and the Jarvan, earning both wins, earning 1 win on the Jarvan and losing to G2 with the Lee Sin. On the Lee Sin, he featured the Knight's Fell build, and the Jarvan, I think it's an interesting pick given that there's a lot of mobile champions being played in the meta at the moment. Karsa played the same 2 champions in the series against Fnatic and scored 2 wins with the Lee Sin. However, he did not play against a farming jungler, facing off against the likes of Gragas, being played by Selfmade, as well as Kha'Zix. The Jarvan, on the other hand, when faced against a farming jungler, was a loss. However, I don't think it is as simple as to just simply boil this down as to the type of champion that they're playing against. If these teams are going to be playing ganking junglers, they firstly need to identify a lane that they are going to play through, and in the Jarvan game, there was no lane for him to play through. As the bot lane, he had a Tahm Kench on support, and in the top lane, he had a Gangplank. The second thing that's needed for such a style to succeed is that the side laners need to be able to secure push to protect camps should he find himself playing against a farming type jungler. As farming junglers, they would usually have a faster clear speed, and they would go for an invade the moment they spot you on a ward to try to secure a farm and level lead that they can then bully you on later on. And the third thing that is important to note that by going for such a style, it does enable stronger mid to redo and provide CC and engage options from the jungle. And this is where the Lee Sin style worked very well for top esports, as they were able to identify that there was a mid gap in terms of skill and simply bully out the opponent mid laner by electing to play a mid lane 2v2. If teams are to elect to play away from mages, and we see more assassins coming into play, which tend to be strong against farming junglers who lack crowd control in general, we might see a ganking jungle style being a very interesting anti-meta approach. Second big learning point, G2 continues to do extremely well against the LCK teams, and Gen.G is the most dogmatic of the LCK 1-3-1 farm efficient style that G2 was so adept at tearing apart at last year's World Championship. And we can see exactly how this happens in 21 minutes of game 1. We see that G2 is ahead on the map. Camille has pushed in the bot lane wave all the way to the opponent tier 2, while Gen.G's BDD is trying to answer the neutral wave on the top side of the map. The moment G2 sees this, they see the opportunity, rotate over, and secure multiple kills for themselves, turning the game around, using the map control to create a lead. A similar scenario happens in 23 minutes, where once again G2 is ahead on the map, where they have a deeper side lane. This time Wonder under Camille has the top lane pushed in effectively to the tier 2. Once again, the LCK teams, they love to play on 3 lanes. Azir shows top lane, Volibear showing bot lane at the same time. G2 immediately pulls the trigger, pops the Destiny Gate, goes into the bot lane, and picks up the kill onto Rascal's Volibear. This 1-3-1 farm efficient style is simply not effective and cannot be used when you are behind on the map. What these LCK teams should be doing is simply choosing to forego one side of the map, defending one side, and ignoring the wave at neutral, only picking it up once their both lanes are at a neutral point. In that scenario, should G2 choose to collapse on one side, there would then be an option for them to play for a cross-map objective. In this case, if you look at the 23-minute mark, even if Gen.G sees that G2 has committed 4 members to killing the Volibear, they are unable to take anything on top side of the map, as they have no available minion wave to threaten the top lane tier 1 turret. Last learning point is that red side seems to be OP, but teams keep taking blue. Damwon Gaming was the first seed, they chose blue, they beat DRX, and as the losing team has choice, they chose blue side twice, losing both games on blue side. Suning was the first seed against JDG, they chose blue side, lost one, won one, and once JDG started to lose a game, they chose blue side, allowing Suning to win 2 games. TS were the first seed as well, and they themselves also chose blue side. Fnatic, when given the option of side selection, once they started to lose games, also interesting enough elected to go for a blue side. A similar story happens with Gen.G, only electing to swap over red side after they had lost 2 games on blue side, realizing that counterpick is rather valuable in this current metagame. As to why these teams are currently going for blue side, I'm not too entirely sure, but so far there are 4 blue wins and 11 red wins in the knockout stages so far, contrasted to the 55% win rate that blue side had during the group stages. Reasons why teams might be going for blue side is that you have the choice of power pick or jungler, and blue side can afford you more target bans, as you do not necessarily have to ban the likes of Lucian on red side, and now that Sylas is available as a counterpick to Twist of Fate, the value of being on blue side is a little bit more questionable, as the most common bans of Twist of Fate and Lucian, now one of them is available back into the overall pool. Whereas on red side, you can draw for lane matchups with counterpick on R5, and you can pick R3 into banning 2 champions for the champion, creating a squeeze in the scenario. Why is red so more valuable in my opinion? In this farming jungler meta, it is so important for you to be able to secure push in the side lanes to allow the crab secures, the Scarlet Crab secures, or perhaps set up for matchups where you can create stack and dive scenarios. Securing counterpick for either support or top lane is extremely important, or even if you were to open the Sylas, open the Twist of Fate, you have the option of counterpicking for Sylas as well, whereas your opponents are not able to give you Twist of Fate on R3, as you can then choose to ban the Sylas yourself. And as such, I do think that once you move into the semifinals, teams should start switching over to prioritizing red side instead, and if we continue to see this trend of prioritizing blue, I would be rather surprised. And that wraps it up for my tactical recap of what we saw in the quarterfinals. I think there's some small things that can be talked about as well, but these are the big macro picture things that we should be looking at in terms of how the meta is shaping up at the World Championship so far. If you like this style of content, please do like my video, and after all, I called it. In all four scenarios, I called the right winner. But it's not about the predictions, it's about how we got there and using this method of analysis, and I will be doing similar videos as well for the semifinals. With that, this content was brought to you by Jensen. Have a nice day and get hyped for Worlds.